Tonight, as we come on the air, Northwest Premier Lazarus Mokgosi leads the Thuntsha Lerole program in the Naledi Local Municipality. Also tonight in Botswana, the ruling party loses majority rule after 58 years. What party President Mokgosi Masisi has to say here tonight, and highlights from Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana's mid-term budget speech as he speaks on the lower than expected tax revenue. In the sports news, as Sundowns and Chiefs prepare to battle it out, we take a look at the other clubs also playing this weekend. Good evening, it's great to have you with us on PNW TV News this Friday evening. First up, earlier today, the Premier of the Northwest Province, Lazarus Mokgosi, led the Naledi Local Municipality edition of Thuntsha Lerole. This is a program set to benefit the communities of Huhudi Township in Vryburg, Rekaratlile Township in Stella, and Ditakwaneng Village, as well as Devondale. Now, through this program, the provincial government aims to fast-track the delivery of services across all local municipalities and create a platform for provincial leadership to have engagement sessions with members of the respective communities. Now, other services set to be delivered include compliance inspection of local tuck shops, the inspections of illegal trading of protected species, health screenings, and clearing of illegal dumping sites. More news. The Stilfontein Regional Court sitting in Klerksdorp handed down a life-term imprisonment to a 26-year-old Boitumelo Monare for raping a 30-year-old woman. Now, SAPS Northwest spokesperson Colonel Adele Mayberg had these details.
In court indicated that in the early hours of the morning on Saturday, the 1st of May of 2021, Boitumelo met the victim at the local tavern in Jacaranda informal settlement. He promised to give her money if she accompanied him to his shack. At his shack, he overpowered and assaulted the woman. Furthermore, he undressed and raped her. The woman fought back and managed to flee from the scene, where two unknown males in the street assisted her and took her to Klerksdorp to Thuntsha Centre. Boitumelo avoided arrest for more than a year by hiding in Tahung, but was ultimately traced and arrested in September of 2022 in Jacaranda informal settlement. He appeared before court for the first time on Monday the 19th of September of 2022, was denied bail by court, and remained in detention until he was found guilty and sentenced. The Provincial Police Commissioner, Lieutenant General Sekhukhune, and the Director for Public Prosecution, Dr. Rachel Makhari, welcomed the sentence and applauded the investigating officer, who is Warrant Officer Dave Venter of Klerksdorp Family Violence, Child Protection and Sexual Offences Unit, and the prosecutor, Mr. Chris Cook, for their teamwork in ensuring that the accused is convicted.
In another case, a 24-year-old male has been sentenced to 27 years imprisonment for robbery after diligent investigations by Tlhabane detectives, Constable Lindiwe Masilela and her mentor, Warrant Officer Khomocho Matlala. Now, Colonel Mayberg shared these details.
The Provincial Police Commissioner, Lieutenant General Sekhukhune, welcomes the sentence handed down this week to a robber and congratulated Tlhabane detectives for an excellent job. On Monday, the 28th of October, the Bafokeng Regional Court in Tlhabane sentenced 24-year-old Sepenyati Setwayu to 27 years imprisonment after diligent investigation by Constable Lindiwe Masilela under the mentorship of Warrant Officer Khomocho Matlala, both from Tlhabane detectives. The court heard evidence that on Friday evening, the 22nd of September of 2023, a 32-year-old victim was sitting inside a local tavern in Tlhabane when three suspects overpowered and stabbed him multiple times on the head and back. They took his cell phone and left the scene. Emergency and medical rescue services were called and transported the victim to a local healthcare center, but he was transferred to a hospital where he received medical treatment for a month before being discharged. After being discharged, the victim spotted one of the suspects, Setwayo, in Tlhabane. He informed the police, who reacted swiftly and effected the arrest. Setwayo appeared before the Rustenburg Magistrate Court for the first time on Tuesday, the 31st of October of 2023, and was denied bail. He was sentenced as follows: on count 1, which is robbery with aggravating circumstances, 12 years imprisonment. On count 2, which is attempted murder, 15 years imprisonment. 5 years for the sentence on count 1 and 2 shall run concurrently. The convict was also declared unfit to possess a firearm in terms of Section 1031 of the Firearm Control Act, that's Act 60 of 2000. The Provincial Commissioner, Lieutenant General Sekhukhune, applauded the two investigating officers for working hard to ensure the sentence.
Well, let's now get the international news. Voters in Botswana have rejected the country's long-serving governing party in a result that marks a political earthquake in the diamond-rich southern African nation. The Botswana Democratic Party, or BDP, in power since independence in 1966, won only one parliamentary seat as of early Friday morning. It looks set to be replaced by the Umbrella for Democratic Change, also known as the UDC. President Mokgosi has conceded, saying he would not take any actions to hinder or slow down the process.
We were established as a beacon of truth and democracy. We believed it then, and we continue to believe it today. Starting tomorrow, or as in my discussion with the President-elect, at a time convenient to him, we will begin all administrative work to facilitate the transition. And I assure you that I will not take any actions to hinder or slow down this process. I will also hand over all outstanding government matters to the new president, so he may address them after his inauguration. I'll continue to serve your interests and the interests of my beloved Botswana within the parameters of our constitution. I promise to do my part in building a stronger country from within and to work with the new administration to ensure that every Botswana has opportunities at their fingertips. I look forward to attending the inauguration and cheering on my new president, and also to wish the new president my very best in his first term and to guarantee him he will enjoy my full support. I can confirm that I've spoken to President-elect yesterday, twice, and this morning, twice. Most recently, just before this press conference, to congratulate him, wish him well, and to inform him that I'm making a concession speak at a press conference publicly, and so be it. So thank you very much. It's been a good journey, a lovely contest. I enjoyed thoroughly hard. Thank you.
Now, despite overseeing a dramatic change in Botswana, recent poor economic growth and high unemployment dented the BDP's popularity. Initial counting also showed the UDC, led by human rights lawyer Duma Boko, having secured 25 seats, according to early tallies. Now, the party will have the most seats in parliament and could pass the 31-seat threshold for outright majority. The UDC has pledged to adopt a new economic strategy and create well-paying jobs. It also promises to distribute wealth that empowers all citizens. And with that, we'll now get the business news. In the business news tonight, Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana has presented his mid-term budget speech, which he believes is a pro-growth mini-budget in line with Treasury's fiscal strategy of balanced spending and growing the economy. Now, despite economic growth being revised downwards since February budget to only 1.1% in 2024, Godongwana said the prospects for growth were improving. The minister spoke about the economic outlook of the world.
Global economic growth is forecast at 3.2% in 2024 and 2025. Global trade is expected to grow by an annual average of 3.3% and over the same period. There are several risks to this outlook. These include persistent geopolitical tensions, and the threat of escalating conflict in the Middle East remains a concern. Wars elsewhere, such as in the Sudan and the conflict between Ukraine and Russia, threaten regional and international stability as well as global trade. These risks imply that emerging markets and developing countries such as South Africa will continue to face headwinds over the medium term. Domestically, we focus on a real GDP growth of 1.1% in 2024. This is lower than the estimate of 1.3% in February. Over the medium term, growth is forecast to average 1.8%. This underscores the need for higher inclusive growth to meet the aspirations of a better life for all. This policy statement aligns our strategy to lift the economy to a higher and more inclusive growth path. The strategy is anchored in 4 pillars. The first one is maintaining macroeconomic stability. The second one is to implementing structural reforms. Thirdly is supporting growth-enhancing infrastructure, and lastly, building an ethical and developmental state.
The finance minister also spoke on the need to improve the country's debt management.
Madam Speaker, to achieve the goals of our fiscal strategy, we must better manage our debt. The debt has risen too fast and is too high. We are anticipating that government debt will reach more than 6 trillion or 75% of GDP in 25-26. We know that our debt is unsustainable because debt service costs have become the largest component of our spending, and it is rising faster than economic growth. Debt service costs will reach 388.9 billion rand in the current financial year. Put differently, this means for every 1 rand of revenue that government raises this year, 22 cents of this is paid in debt service cost. To deal with this problem, we have taken difficult steps to reduce the budget deficit. We have restrained spending and maintained stable tax collection. As a result of our measures, government achieved a primary budget surplus in 23-24 for the first time in 15 years. As I said earlier, the surplus is needed for us to stabilize debt. The primary surplus is not a pot of money. Rather, it is the difference between what government spends, excluding debt service costs, and what government collects in revenue. Over the medium term, the main budget deficit will decline from 4.7% of GDP in 2024-25 to 3.4% in 27-28, with the primary budget surplus rising to 1.8% of GDP. The primary surplus will be sufficient for debt to stabilize at 75.5% in 25-26. Debt will then decline over the rest of this decade. The key impact of this is the debt service costs will also stabilize and begin to decline over the next few years.
Now, Godongwana also revealed that tax revenue would be lower than expected.
Madam Speaker, on the revenue side, tax collection for 24-25 is expected to be 22.3 billion lower than we anticipated in February. Over the next 2 years, the main budget revenue is estimated has also been lowered by 30.2 billion. In the absence of faster growth and in the face of external risk, tax revenue will remain under pressure, forcing us to make difficult decisions on where to spend. Lower revenue also means that we cannot, and within the envelope, accommodate all the demands of the fiscus. Difficult trade-offs in all spheres of government will have to be made. By sticking to our debt-reducing strategy and confronting these trade-offs, we can create the necessary conditions for a fast-growing economy that facilitates employment. Our most immediate spending pressures will be addressed despite the weaker revenue. Compared to our estimate in February, expenditure for this year will increase mainly for the following: rollovers from the previous financial year to the value of 2.1 billion rand. 2.7 billion rand expenditure that was announced at the time of the main budget, largely for the increase in the social relief distress grant. The unforeseeable and unavoidable expenditure of 2.1 billion rand, mainly for the disaster relief in a number of provinces. A special appropriation bill that mostly covers Sanral's obligations related to phase 1 of the Gauteng Free Improvement Program. A large part of this appropriation is made possible by the Gauteng provincial government, honoring its 3.8 contribution to the debt this year. Over the medium term, consolidated expenditure is expected to increase from 2.4 trillion in 24-25 to 2.8 trillion rand in 27-28.
Well, that's it for your business news. Stay with us as we go to the sports news. A Sekhukhune United football star has handed himself over to police after being linked to a hit-and-run incident on Wednesday. Now, according to police, the athlete's luxury car crashed into another car, killing a 9-year-old child and injuring another 13-year-old in Tembisa. Upon arrival on the scene, police discovered cocaine, alcohol, and cannabis edibles in the soccer player's car. Police said he fled the scene before they arrived, prompting a manhunt, but later handed himself in. The Players Club released a statement stating it would not comment as the matter is before court. Now, more soccer news tonight. Mamelodi Sundowns will visit FNB Stadium to take on Kaizer Chiefs in the quarter-final of the Carling Black Label Cup on Saturday, the 2nd of November. Kickoff for this clash is 6 p.m. Now, the Brazilians head into this encounter after an impressive victory, beating Cape Town City 3-0 and moving back to the top of the league table. Chiefs are not in good form heading into this fixture after losing to SuperSport and drawing against newly promoted Mokgosi FC. In the other quarterfinals this Saturday, Richard Bay will host Cape Town City at King Goodwill Zwelithini Stadium. Kickoff is at 3 p.m. On Sunday, Marumo Gallants go up against Stellenbosch at the Dr. Molemola Stadium. Kickoff is at 3 p.m. In another fixture, TS Galaxy will face Mokgosi FC at the Mbombela Stadium. Kickoff for this game is at 3 p.m. Of course, many soccer fans definitely prepared to show up and support their teams. I'm Boitumelo Monare. We'll see you back here on Monday. From all of us, good night.